Hello and welcome to another episode of Nightcap with Nightcat, the kitsch-minded show where we talk about toys, boys, and life's other joys. I am your host, Nightcat. Thank you so much for being here. Episode 27. Okay, let's kick things off with Wild Wednesday. Now here's the thing. You probably already know this guy. This is my own lizard. His name is Red, and he is a bearded dragon. He's named after Red Forman from that 70s show because he just looks like a cranky old man right there in the face. Just nothing but cranky old man face all of the time. Now, these are probably the most commonly kept pet reptiles in the United States, and they are really popular for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, he is super duper nice. They are really nice lizards. They like to hang out. He hasn't been handled a whole lot throughout his life, and he still is just so easy. If I tried to handle a different kind of lizard who had been held as much as this guy, this would be a much different video. This would be me trying to fight for my life. Luckily, bearded dragons, those hang out all day. He and I have gotten really into TikTok lately. Sheesh. You know how it is. You kids, I'm part of the youths now. Bearded dragons get their name because obviously they've got this big old beard. And right now his beard is yellow and it's relaxed, which is a good thing because that is their main defense against predators. If he felt scared or threatened, that beard would turn black and he'd puff it out really big. And then he would look like Abraham Lincoln. And that is really all he has to defend himself. He doesn't have sharp teeth like an alligator or long sharp claws like a monitor lizard or anything like that. He just has that big, chunky beard. Isn't that right, little handsome? This is his favorite food in the entire world, blueberries. He lives for them, he dies for them. This is his jam. Let's get a little one. The thing is, though, we tried to practice this a few times, and he wasn't going for it. So what I think I have to do is roll it to him. Let's scoot you this way. I'm gonna roll the blueberry. Are you ready? Look. Ooh, yeah. Oh, nope. Oh, wait. Oh, so close. Here you go. Yeah, delicious! They aren't supposed to eat as many blueberries as he gets, but they're like the only thing in the whole world that he likes. Red is 9 or 10-ish years old right now, and they have a life expectancy of anywhere from 10 to 15 years. Sometimes they live up to 20. So he is starting to enter his golden years. He's an old man, and as far as I'm concerned, if he wants blueberries in his retirement because he's just so old and it'll make him happy, then he gets to have the blueberries. Just let him have the blueberries. Now you see these little spikes all up and down his sides, and a lot of people think that those spikes are for defense, but that is actually for camouflage. When we look around a room, we're not looking for details. Our eyes are trained to look for shapes. So when I look around, I'm like, okay, that's microphone shaped, that's camera shaped, that's cat shaped, whatever it is. Well, those little spikes on his side break up his shape, so he is no longer lizard shaped. It's some of the best camouflage ever, because he can stand out in relatively plain sight, and a predator would not be able to see him because he is no longer lizard shaped. I know how that sounds, but I promise, that is the truth. That's why Native Americans, part of why I'm sure there's a million reasons, but part of the reason that Native Americans included so much fringe on their clothing is to break up their shape, so they're no longer person-shaped. So if they're standing along a tree line and they've got that fringe to break up their human shape, it's going to be really hard for anybody who's looking for them to see them. It's the same idea on this big lizard here, huh, handsome boy? Because they really are such easy pets. I mean, he eats like 2 or 3 times a week. He doesn't get in the way. He doesn't yell at me like the cats. He's a really easy pet. However, he will live a long time, and you still are going to have to care for him because he is a living animal. So what I recommend before you go get one is do the research. Find out how long they live, what he's going to need, if you're able to accommodate that in your house, in your life, for 20 years. That's gonna be a long time, huh, buddy? So like even the youngest among you watching right now, you are gonna have to take him through high school, you're gonna take him to college, you're gonna have to tell all your future dates that you're a lizard guy, and trust me, that never goes super well, does it? No. People think you're weird, but I think you're cool. That is Red the Bearded Dragon from my own personal collection. You can find more of the animals from Wild Wednesday at scalesandtalesutah.com. That is the job I've been doing lately. I'm part-time back at Scales and Tales doing reptile shows, which is pretty rad. So go check it out, scalesandtalesutah.com. And if you want more info about this show, because you stumbled into it and you don't know what it is, nightcatshow.com is the place for that. All right, I am going to put Red back in his cage and put on my glasses because I'm an elderly little grandma and I can't read without my glasses now. So I'm going to put him back, get my glasses, and we'll be right back with the litter box. Ew, what stinks in here? The LITTERBOX is the part of the show where I dive into the stupid news and I only bring you back the best stuff. I don't want you wasting your time reading stupid news. Let me do it. I don't have anything else going on. And I want to get started over in Cleveland, where a man was arrested after making a phony 911 call to get out of a traffic ticket. So here's the story. The guy was at Walmart with a woman and a 2-year-old child. I don't know what their relation is. But as they were leaving Walmart, they got pulled over. He was driving with expired license plates. He didn't register his car. And he also was driving on a suspended license. So not a good time for him to get pulled over. Well, what does he do? He calls 911. And he reports a shooting at a street nearby the Walmart, thinking that maybe if there's a really bad shooting, the cops will get called away from the traffic stop and he can go on about his day. Which honestly is a pretty solid plan. I had never thought of that, and I'm glad I didn't because it backfired horrendously. The operator who was taking the 911 call realized that it was the guy who was currently being pulled over, informed the officers, and he was then arrested for all the things I told you and a bunch of new stuff as well, because sometimes you make a bad situation worse. Don't break the law if you're breaking the law. A plate of fries at a restaurant in New York have just been certified the world's most expensive French fries. I don't know who certifies that. I don't know what sort of board certifies that sort of thing, but I want to be on that board. I want to sample things. I want to be like, wow, yeah, that is expensive. I've never seen anything that expensive. Now give me some for free. The restaurant is called Serendipity 3. It's on Manhattan's Upper East Side, and they do all sorts of things trying to break Guinness World Records. Like one thing they did is the most expensive sundae in the world. So for National French Fry Day, which was yesterday, in case that's not a holiday that you observe, they decided to do the world's most expensive plate of French fries. Here's what's on these puppies. They're called the Creme de la Creme Pomme Frites. They come with Dom Perignon champagne vinegar, imported cage-free goose fat from France, truffle salt, truffle oil, truffle butter, and believe it or not, truffles. Black truffles from Italy, a bevy of really expensive European cheeses that I couldn't pronounce because half of them were in French, and to top it off, a dusting of 24 karat gold. You'll be eating gold, baby. Now, how much does that all cost? The grand total for this plate of fries, the world's most expensive, is $200, which is a lot of money. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend it's not, but it is not as much as I thought it was going to be. New York, that seems like a typical meal in New York anyway. Have you been? That place is crazy. The food is either $1 and comes from a bucket on the street, or it's $1 million and you can sit down in air conditioning while you eat it. Those are the options. And finally, okay, remember last week when I told you the story of that Tennessee couple who went on a shooting rampage after their chicken sandwich was too spicy? We have another fast food rager. So this guy is a 42-year-old guy from Iowa. He gets his McDonald's, he takes it home. He opens the bag, and he realizes that they have forgot his spicy buffalo sauce. Now, I have been in this situation before. You get your burrito home, they didn't put in the salsa. You get your chicken tendies home, they didn't put in the ranch. Whatever it might be, and it is the worst. I'll tell you what, you get home, you throw your hands up in the air like, why do I even keep trying? Why am I doing this? What is this all for? If I can't even get the sauce I wanted with the food, the only thing I was looking forward to all day, I just wanted my sauce and television. That's all I wanted. But I did not do what this fella did. He calls the restaurant, but not to complain. Instead, he calls in a bomb threat. He says he's gonna blow the whole restaurant up and he's gonna beat the crap out of all of the employees because they forgot his spicy buffalo sauce. I don't know what it is about you spicy people. If your food's not hot enough, you go into a complete rage, apparently. Naturally, it was not hard to trace a phone call. It hasn't been since the 90s, and police were able to locate the man. He admitted to everything, and he was arrested for making bomb threats, which is a huge no-no, buddy. From now on, why don't you just keep a bottle of buffalo sauce in your refrigerator? I actually got into an argument one time with an ex-boyfriend about this because I did not have buffalo sauce in the fridge. I had normal condiments like ketchup and ranch and mayonnaise. And he was like, why don't you have buffalo sauce? And I go, because I don't eat buffalo sauce. And he goes, but that's like a staple condiment. It is not. It is not a staple condiment. No one is required to have buffalo sauce. That is an above and beyond sauce. You should have mustard. You should have ketchup. You should have mayo. Any good house has ranch. Those are the things that you have to have. If you don't have other things, tough cookies. Anyway, what do you think? Is buffalo sauce a staple condiment? Please tell me in the comments that I'm not the crazy one. Is buffalo sauce a staple condiment that everyone has in their fridge and everyone needs to have? And that is the litter box. I think it's time for us to dive into the toy collection for another sunken treasure. Sunken Treasure is the part of the show where I show off all the cool things in my toy collection. This is not a toy though. This is something a little bit different. I know, another Harry Potter book, don't I have a million? Yes, I do. But this is not any ordinary copy of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This is the MinaLima interactive illustrated edition of the book that I keep in plastic because I love it so much. Suggested retail price, $37.99. I got it for $22.49 because I'm a Costco member. No brag. But look at this. I don't open this book very often. I keep it in the plastic because it is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. Take a look. So we open up, and everything is just stunningly illustrated. There's the Dursleys, the Deluminator. There's McGonagall, that little catty lady. I love her so much. So those illustrations are gorgeous. And yes, I do also have the illustrated versions of the Harry Potter books, but this one has interactive stuff and toys inside. It's so crazy. Watch this. So you've got, open this puppy up. You can spin this around. Goes around the planets. How stupid pretty is this thing? You can actually open the letter. The Hogwarts letter to Harry Potter. All of the ingredients you're gonna need, all of your cauldrons, your robes, your wand, everything. It has the school supply list. And it just folds right back up. Ooh. Right like that. So we get to the best part. This is Diagon Alley. Look at this crazy thing! Oh, it's so pretty. I can't even handle it! So this is not one that I play with because it is one of my most prized possessions. Is it particularly rare? No. They had them forever at Costco. And if you're looking for one, I'm sure you can find one for pretty cheap. Now listen, I am a thrift queen. I love thrift shopping. I love getting things secondhand. I love a bargain. I would be hesitant to buy this one secondhand if it's something you're really interested in because all sorts of things can be wrong with it. Those little arms on the clock could be torn off. The walls could be torn off. And if you want one that is specifically for looking through and checking all that stuff out, I would avoid getting yourself into a position. Chess! I would avoid... Sorry, I got distracted. If you are planning on getting one of these, I would avoid getting it secondhand, even though I recommend getting everything secondhand. This is one of the only things I wouldn't, just because there's a good chance that it might have some damaged pieces. The pieces are small, they're intricate. This is definitely not something I would get for a kid, unless it was a really responsible kid that you didn't think was going to tear it up. Unless you don't care. I mean, it is a $22 book. If you're a Costco member. Again, you've got to be a Costco member. It's a very exclusive club. And the second Harry Potter MinaLima is coming out this October 26th. I can't freaking wait. It's green. It looks so pretty. So check it out. Look for the MinaLima book. I highly recommend it if you're a Harry Potter collector. You gotta have one of these in your collection because they're just the coolest. And that is another edition of Sunken Treasure. Let's go through my traumas. I'm gonna tell you a messed up story from my past in NIGHTCAT Classic Tales. NIGHTCAT Classic Tales is the part of the show where I reveal something embarrassing. Luckily, this week it's not embarrassing for me. This is the time that I went to Vegas and vowed that I would never go back to Las Vegas, Nevada for as long as I lived. This was a friend trip, which is hard to organize a group of 20 adults who don't want to be organized. We are drunk messes who don't want to do anything. First night, we were going to go out and party. The second night, we were going to go see Book of Mormon on stage, which was great, by the way. And the day we arrived, we get 2 hotel rooms to, like, a bunch of us. There's like 15 of us, and we only got 2 rooms because we were in our 20s and we were poor. Now we're in our 30s and we're poor. There's a big difference. But we got these 2 rooms, and immediately one of my friends, we'll call her Bindi, like the jungle girl, because she's a wild animal. This girl decides to start assigning rooms, and she put all of us boring people who were probably going to want to go to bed early in one room, the squares, if you will, and she took all of the booze and the party hounds to another room. And she was really specific about it, like to the point where it was borderline mean, telling people which room they could or could not sleep in. And so that night, we go out. We go to a bar. The squares went to the bar for a second, stopped by the Bellagio to watch the fountains, and then we went to our room and turned in early because we wanted to be well rested for the show. And at about, I don't know, 3 in the morning, I hear a little knock, knock, knock on the door. And who is it but Bindi the Jungle Girl? I get out of bed, I look through the window, and I'm like, nope, not dealing with that, Bindi. So I went and pottied, and I went back to my bed, and I pretended Bindi did not exist. She keeps knocking, and one of the other squares lets her in. And they were like, what is going on? What happened to you? And she walks in, I don't know. Just so drunk, she goes, I lost my keys. I lost my phone. I lost you. I lost my shoes. I lost everything. I lost myself. I lost my shoes. And she just kept repeating the list of things that she lost. Like Harry Potter running through the forest trying to remember all the Horcruxes. I lost you. So we're like, what happened? And apparently she got so wild, and these are her words, not mine. She says, and then this big white bouncer and his tiny white friend came by and gave me these prison sandals and told me I had to leave because I couldn't find my shoes. She's spinning this incredible tale of meeting men and losing her shoes, and then she got kicked out of the bar. And somehow she salmoned all the way from the bar back to the wrong room. The room that she specifically did not want to sleep in with the squares. So everyone's like, all right, Christy, just get into bed. And I was so mad at this point because I was just trying to sleep, and this was my room, not hers, remember? So she jumps into bed, and she gets into bed with me, and she curls up on me, and she's 4 million degrees. She's been running around drunk Vegas all night long, getting up to who knows what. And then she curls up to me on my back and she goes, I lost my shoes. I lost my phone. I lost everything. And I can feel her breath is so hot and heavy, and it's hitting the back of my neck, and I am getting angrier by the second until finally all of the condensation from her breath drips off of my neck and onto the pillow, and I'm like, nope, not happening. So I don't even know where the party animal room is, but I am determined to get her there. It is in a different tower in the hotel we're staying in. We get into the elevator and she falls down immediately. I was like, get up. I'm taking you back to your room. Get up! I was so upset. Then these 2 guys come around and they're like, hey, hold the door. And they've got this thick Scottish accent that I will not try because it will be offensive. And they were like, oh, thanks, you're a good lad. And Bindi starts crying. And she goes, he is a nice lad, isn't he? And like suddenly starts thanking me for helping her get back to her room, but what I'm actually doing is kicking her out of my room. So I get her through the casino, some guy's walking around shirtless, and she points at him and she goes, your nipples are showing. So now she's drunk and belligerent, which is a good combo. I get her up to the room. The party animals luckily had left the door ajar for her. So I open the door and I push her in. She goes, which bed is my bed? And I go, I don't care. And I shut the door and I went back and I got in my bed for our wake up time, which was in a matter of hours by this point. So the next day I'm telling the whole gang this story. And Bindi's sitting there just sort of like shaking her head. She reaches into her purse, she grabs a Bud Light can, cracks it open, and starts drinking. Again, this is hours after I had to drag her through the hotel to get back to her room. Honestly, I might have overreacted, but I was tired, it was hot, and I was not about to hear her whisper her list of Horcruxes in my ear for the rest of the night. It wasn't happening. And that is another Nightcat classic tale. All right, so here's the thing. I was going to do a warm milk, a good news story to put you to sleep. But a while ago, I did something called the CATSPIRACY Corner, which everyone really liked. So we're doing it again. We're going to go through another conspiracy theory. It is time for the CATSPIRACY CORNER. So a couple weeks ago, I did the Avril Lavigne story, and why I always giggle and why I always say that Avril Lavigne is dead. She's not dead, apparently, according to her record label. So I broke down the conspiracy, and people got so interested in that one that I thought it would be fun if we read through one of my books. These are one of my bathroom reader books that I love so much, called Great American Conspiracies. Did you know that there are USOs as well as UFOs? Unidentified Submerged Objects? Apparently there are all sorts of claims that they have seen things like spaceships under the ocean. So I thought it would be fun to go through and read a couple of these little conspiracies. This one is in 1963. While conducting exercises off the coast of Puerto Rico, U.S. Navy submarines encounter something extraordinary. A sonar operator aboard said that one of the ships then went and chased down whatever this thing was and tried to follow it, but it was too fast. It was crazy fast. The USO was moving at 150 knots, which is 175 miles an hour, and hitting depths of more than 20,000 feet below the sea. Modern day nuclear subs have top speeds of about 25 knots, which, you know, is not 150 knots like this crazy alien ship, and can operate at about 800 feet below the surface. So whatever this vehicle was, it was going faster and diving deeper than anything the US military had or has seen since, at least that we know. You know they're keeping secrets in there. It would be so easy to just chalk this up to like, oh yeah, they were seeing things. Maybe they're making stuff up, but 13 separate underwater crafts witnessed the USO as it crisscrossed the Atlantic Ocean over 4 days. So there were reports of this from all over the place over the course of 4 days. Something was down there, but we don't know what it was. Ooh, what was it? Is it aliens? Did they come visit us in the 60s and they're like, no, thank you. In 1964, in London, a bus driver by the name of Bob witnessed one of the strangest USO sightings ever. So he's got his bus full of passengers, right? And they're going on their normal route. The driver and the passengers reported seeing a silver cigar-shaped object dive into the water next to them. So they report it because it was like the craziest thing anyone had ever seen. And they're like, yeah, definitely we saw some sort of ship dive down into the river. The police get there, they look around, and they're like, yep, sounds like ducks to me. That must be ducks. They attributed it to a flock of ducks, which, to be fair, maybe if there were enough ducks in a concentrated area, they might seem like they're all moving in one piece and they dive into the water, right? But here's the thing. Severed telephone lines and a large gouge on the river's embankment suggested that it was not ducks, or it was an army of the fattest ducks you've ever seen just tearing through town, or it's aliens, who again got here in the 60s, and they're like, no thank you. And finally, a USO was sighted by at least 9 fishermen anchored off of the coast of Mississippi. They witnessed an underwater object an estimated 5 feet in diameter that emitted a strange amber-colored light. You see this thing poking around, it's glowing, it looks otherworldly. What do? Naturally, you'll run up and poke it. One guy repeatedly poked at the light-emitting object with an oar. Each time he made contact with the object, the light would dim, it would move away, and then it would brighten back up as soon as it was far enough away from the boat. So he keeps doing this for about a half hour. He goes out and he gets all of his buddies. He's like, you guys gotta come see this. This is crazy. Again, not telling the authorities, not reporting it to anyone, just telling his buddies like, hey, this is nuts. All of the fishermen then gather around and they watch him poke it until apparently he hit whatever this thing was a little too hard and it disappeared. They left for a while, came back, it was still there. Investigators from the Naval Ship Research and Development Laboratory in Panama City, Florida, submitted their findings. At least 9 persons had witnessed an undetermined light source whose characteristics and actions were inconsistent with those types of known marine organisms or with an uncontrolled human-made object. Their final report was inconclusive, stating that the object could not be positively identified. What is going on in the ocean? I've said this so many times. All these billionaires launching into space, probably to get away from whatever natural disaster is coming that they know about and we don't. Conspiracies. Anyway, all of these billionaires are leaving to explore space and see what's in space. I'm like, why don't you guys explore the ocean? It's already here. You can do it. You can build your fancy ships. Everyone's like, I'm gonna go to space. Like it's something cool. We've already done that. You know what we haven't done? Reached the bottom parts of the ocean. So why don't you get on that? Why don't you start making ships and start working on what's happening here? And then once we get ourselves together and in a line, then you can go mess with whoever else is out there. But for now, we gotta get an understanding of what's here. Maybe the aliens know. There might be aliens who know more about our ocean floors than we do. Go figure. Way to go, guys. Thanks, Jeff Bezos, for launching into space for no reason. And that is Nightcap with Nightcat, episode number 27. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, real quick. I know things are hard right now for a lot of people, and I hate asking for this sort of stuff, but if you could please join our Patreon, that would mean so freaking much to me. This is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm staying afloat and producing the show with no budget of my own because I'm unemployed, or I guess I'm part-time employed. I've got to stop saying unemployed. But if you have $3 or $5 to donate to the Nightcat brand so we can keep making videos like this, keep improving the quality, improving the content, that would be awesome. Patreon.com/NightCatShow. It's just a group of friends who get together. And just so you know, if you're a Patreon patron, you get early access a week before anyone else to the true crime podcast, Curiosity Killed Nightcat, which you should go listen to. Everything that's published right now is very good. Thank you so much. Not to brag, but I'm going to brag a little bit. Curiosity Killed Nightcat on your favorite podcast directory. You're going to love it. If you're a Patreon patron, you're getting that a week before anybody else. Again, patreon.com/NightCatShow. If you have anything to spare, would be so helpful. Thank you so much to the patrons who are already here. Hey, I got a Patreon shout out. But the thing is, it doesn't have a name. It just says Hot Wheels. So if you are Hot Wheels and you're donating to my Patreon, thank you so much. You're just the best. I'm getting more stickers out. If you missed the stickers in the first round, I'm getting more out very, very soon. If you're a Patreon patron, you get free stickers. Patreon.com/NightCatShow. Again, go check out the Curiosity Killed Nightcat podcast on your favorite podcast directory. We also upload all of the audio from this show onto a podcast called Nightcat Radio. I'm going to be posting some exclusive content onto that very, very soon. Stuff you won't see on YouTube. It is just for the podcast. Yep, that's all I'm going to say about it. I don't have everything worked out quite yet. I've been working on a lot of stuff really hard that's coming, but I got to keep some of it a secret for the time being. So, if you would like to check that out and just get subscribed, get ready for some awesome content, Nightcat Radio on your favorite podcast directory. All right, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video. Check the description of this video for your Nightcat True Crime walking tour tickets in the link tree, linktr.ee/JacksonWitt in the description of this video. Book your tickets. They're so fun. I can't wait to tell you about murder in Salt Lake. Until next week, bye. See you later.